Welcome to a new daily top Askreddit video. Today's topic: what foods seem completely fine until you realize how it's actually made. Reminds me of that video of Jamie Oliver showing kids how chicken nuggets were made, and after showing them all, the kids still wanted to eat them after. His reaction is priceless. Edit better link, https://2nmzlp2xubw. Those kids taught him a valuable lesson. Honestly though, his lesson is kinda stupid in the first place. Processed food's bad because they use undesirable pieces of meat. By that logic, leberwurst, blood sausage, etc. is all bad because of the pieces of meat used, when in reality I'd argue it's more responsible to use those parts of an animal than dispose of them. If his point is processed food bad, would the reason not be because of the excessive sodium and saturated fats, and lack of nutritional value? The lesson was stop using chili jam, Jamie Oliver. They even add chicken skin. Fuck you, that's a selling point. You mean the most delicious part of the chicken? Heavens no. When I was growing up, my grandma used to make this amazing apple salad dessert thing. I loved it growing up. One year I wanted to make it for myself as an adult and I asked her the recipe. Turns out it was just apples, mayo and sugar. My mouth dropped so hard. I'm sorry, your favorite childhood dish has been ruined. Mayo is just egg yolk and oil. Reminds me of my grandpa's sweet and sour meatballs. It's meatballs mixed in a sauce that's made with only ketchup and grape jelly. It's oddly really good. That's a popular crockpot dish. Imitation crab. It's fish paste with eggs, a bunch of additives and colorings. Which makes sense. The weird part is watching the two colors of extruded paste get stretched out and wrapped around each other, like fish taffy. Hot dog of the sea. I manage a meat department, and when customers ask me about our imitation crab meat, I always say it's a fish hot dog, and the people who were already going to buy it love the description, and those on the fence usually opt out. I'm realizing I'm a bad businessman. This is now my favorite way to describe fake crab. Don't know why, but I love imitation crab. I'll just eat that stuff straight out the pack with a small cup of melted butter. The creation process has never bothered me. I looked into the process and was like, oh it's fish sausage. That's why it's good. Slurm. Wimmy wham wham wazzle. Slurms Mackenzie. A lot of people enjoy shark fin soup, and maybe some don't realize what the fishermen do to get the fins. Look up video if you want, but they bring the shark on board, cut off all the fins, and chuck it back still alive to writhe and float and suffer. The crazy thing is that it offers zero nutritional value whatsoever. It's like a status thing. It offers zero nutritional value whatsoever. Even worse, is that it offers zero flavor on its own. The flavor of shark fin soup is from whatever else they add to it. Shark fin on its own is tasteless. Even worse than that, according to Wikipedia. Sharks biomodify toxins, so eating shark meat may raise the risk of dementia and heavy metal poisoning such as mercury poisoning. Shark fin soup needs to be outlawed. Outlawed in California. But needs to be everywhere. It is in a lot of countries. Doesn't stop it though, sadly, as long as any country allows it. That's unbelievably horrible. My wife's aunt made a mushroom soup that she had me try, supposed to be super healthy and tasty. I tried it, it was okay, and then she showed me the mushrooms. Fgig caterpillars that had cordyceps. I'll see y'all later as patient 0. Why would she do that? I just googled this and I don't understand. For curious folk like me. Click at your own risk. Mild NSFW. The caterpillars are said to be super healthy and nutritious for the body in China. They use it as almost medicine. Along with these caterpillars, sea cucumbers are eaten in the same regard. Both super expensive. Sea cucumbers is definitely an acquired taste. Really weird texture. Edit, even if only 5% of the Chinese population believes in these old practices, that's still a 70 million people market, double the size of Canada. Not everyone is okay with sea cucumber and caterpillars. Everyone most definitely can't afford it. Yeah, the one with the matchstick for size reference. As for why, the in-laws are Asian and my mill is terminal, so they are trying out anything to help, including $600 handful of cordyceps caterpillars. And yes, I said it was ridiculous to pay that much for zombie bugs. Haven't been able to enjoy a meal since. I honestly don't care how something is made as long as it's safe to eat and tastes good. For instance, I don't care that chicken nuggets are made from scraps because they are safe and taste good. In fact, I think it's great that they have found ways to use the parts people normally don't like and have turned them into something many people enjoy. It would be a huge waste to throw it all out and have to make nuggets from all white meat. We'd need way more chicken farms and the prices would be a lot higher. I feel the same when people complain about Wendy's using the patties that were on the heater past the time they allow in the chili. It's still perfectly safe to eat, just dry, which is why putting it in chili makes perfect sense. It still tastes good, is safe, and they found a way to reduce waste, which I'm all for. In school, back when they made lunches at school, you always knew chili day was after hamburger day. And spinach on grass cutting day. In commercial meat plants, like where nuggets are made, abattoirs, butcher shops etc., approx half, by volume, of the chicken, cow, pig, or fish humans don't consume are sent to rendering plants where it is processed into dry products, bone meal, porcine meal, fish meal, feather meal, etc., oils, and treatable wastewater. The meals and oils are sold into other industries where there'll be ingredients in many, many other products. None of it is wasted. When I worked at DFA, a cheese plant, we had a task to scrape rind rot off Swiss. There was no rind, it was just rot on the surface of 50-pound blocks of bulk cheese. We'd scrape, cut, and dumped all the rotten and scrap cheese into big trash cans. This was sent as pig feed. The whole ugly food pearl clutching is dumb, because capitalism is good at rendering out all value from byproducts. Ugly apples getting wasted. What do you think applesauce or any juice is? Mechanically separated chicken parts. Uggies. In Poland we have a dish that's called flaki, which literally means guts. It's a soup made of cow stomach. Many people don't wanna even think about it, but I think it's delicious. Oh, so a bit like mudo in Mexican cooking. Tripas, intestines washed and emptied, soup stock, herbs and spices and hominy. Really tasty, but the intestines part. Count me out. Tacos de tripitas. I was scared to click this post. Same, surprisingly just more of a list of unusual foods of processed things. While off-putting, I see no problems with some of the scraps we eat. It's perfectly fine to me that I'm eating the scraps of chicken in chicken nuggets. Gelatin from bones and ligaments. The reject pieces of animal being used to make so many great foods or items. People want to say the natives had the right idea, using every part of the animal. But suddenly turning around to say eating black pudding is disgusting. I feel better knowing that we used every ounce of that cow. The cow didn't die in vain. The cow was used for milk, once done with that stage sold for meat. The meat market sells the bones for dog bones, gelatin, beef stock, literally anything else. Nothing goes to waste. Don't get me wrong, the treatment from cow to meat and then the food waste alone is problematic, but that's not what the thread is about. We use every part of every item. Excuse me, I have nuggets in the oven that are ready. If we're going to kill for food, we mustn't waste a lick. This. My mom used to tell me if I can't finish the meal, to just respect the meat. You finish that. So load up on veggies and take only the meat you'll eat. As a baker, puff pastry. Not because it's gross or something, it's just a long, involved process that can break you if you let it. I've made it once. Took hours because if it started to warm up I would refrigerate it again. Now I just buy it. The difference between homemade and raw store-bought is negligible with everything I tend to add to it / around it. Not worth the 3-ish hours it took. I used to want to make everything from scratch until I came across Make the Bread, Buy the Butter. This book changed my life lol. Nestle. r/fuckissel. Ever hear of cashew matsu cheese? The cheese made creamy by the little maggots eating it and pooping it out again. I'd never heard of this before. I envy past me. It's dangerous once the maggots die. Ouch. That's not even the worst part. Those bastards can launch themselves up to 15 centimeters, so you either have to stop it with your hand or put the sandwich in a paper bag to suffocate them. Source, Wiki. Edit, guys, I went back and read some more. Maggots can jump. My life will never be the same. FML. Fuck everything. And here's Gordon Ramsay eating it. That's enough internets for today. It is the only cheese I will never try. As a cheese lover, I concur. I would try just about any cheese but this. Foie Gras. Edit, I did not expect this to blow up as much as it did. Sincerely thank you for the upvotes and the awards. I'm also glad to see this sparked such an elaborate discussion. Ethical foie gras is basically a myth. The dish is produced by force-feeding the ducks/geese to intentionally give them a fatal fatty liver disease. Then harvesting the fatty liver, foie gras, when the bird is near death. As their livers become nearly ripe for harvesting, the liver can no longer function, causing toxin buildup in their blood. The birds often struggle to walk, and wind up lying in a pool of their own vomit and shit. The fattened birds also are overheated, panting as they struggle cool down. Their feathers are matted, sores are common. They spend most of their time in tiny cages, unable to move. Their esophagus becomes covered in scar tissue, due to the feeding tube. There's one dude in Spain who sells natural foie gras that doesn't require feeding tubes, instead relying on the bird's natural desire to plump up for the winter. But the liver is half the size and 3x the price. A small jar costs $250 and is only available for a couple of months in the winter. It's not possible to mass produce, yet people tout it as an example of why all foie gras is totally ethical. Who the hell came up with that in the first place? How is not higher? I don't understand how anyone who knows how it's made can justify eating it. Because it's extremely delicious. It's like a mega rich savory butter when done right. With that said, holy fuck is it unethical, and I haven't had it since I learned about the torture those poor geese go through.